Wood barrel bourbon soap.
Yes, so it smells like barrel-aged bourbon. 1 bar, John, 1 bar of soap. How long does a bar of soap last you, usually? 2 or 3 days?
I don't know. I use the pump thing in the shower, so I don't use bar soap.
I use bar soap. I use dial bar soap. It lasts about 2 or 3, 4, maybe 4 days. 1 bar is $8. And you know what? Their quantity discount, if you get 2 bars, it's still $8 each. And if you buy 3 bars, it's still $8 each. And now if you subscribe and save, which means they'll deliver every month to you, you get 25% off. But I mean, what's 25% off $8? Still going to be $6 each. Can you imagine spending $6 for a bar of soap? I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
This is Kyle. Kyle doesn't like junk food. Kyle doesn't do drugs. Kyle likes to work out. Do some good shit.
Welcome back to another episode of Rips and Rants. John Romano and I are back again to do some damage this week. And John's been pressuring me a lot lately. His schedule is so busy. And I was asking him right before we started the show, and John wanted to do this on the air. I want to know what you do all day long that you're so busy.
First of all, I have 3 jobs, number 1. Number 2 is I don't like wasting time.
No, I know you.
I have projects that are, in play that are.
I want to know. You don't share with me. You used to tell me everything. I don't get any information. My grandma. My grandma's like, you don't tell me anything. I don't see you. I don't hear from you. You're too busy for me.
I'm building 3 motorcycles. I'm building a cinema room in the house. I got the treadmill debacle that I went through with you in the gym, the other day. I'm getting.
I got to ask you, how much was that treadmill that you bought? The
$500. $500.
Oh, that's it. What is it used?
Yeah,
it looked brand new.
It was from a gym. It was a Life Fitness from a gym. So
yeah,
they were getting new treadmills, and I got that reconditioned for $500 because I know somebody. Yeah, I'm getting carpal tunnel surgery Monday, so I got my pre-op.
Oh, that's right.
Today.
Hold on. When was the last time you actually did you ever get surgery?
Yeah.
What?
Like deep surgery?
Not like your gyno surgery. I'm talking, have you ever had real surgery?
I had my knee put back together. That was real surgery.
That's true. But that was a long time ago.
That was 25-6 years ago. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Are you nervous about this? Because you're not that, I'm used to surgeries. You're not.
I can't wait. Are you kidding? I cannot wait. I am counting the days to get this done. These 2 fingers have been numb for 3 years. I look at myself, I got blood on my clothes. I'm like, where am I bleeding from? I look at one of these 2 fingers, I had a gaping cut. I don't even know it because I can't feel anything. Yeah. So, and they tingle all the time. So it's like Chinese water torture. You just never get a break. It's constant. And the doctor said it's a simple 10-minute. They just give you a little cut right here, and he says, "Boom, you're in and out. You don't even know what happened. You get immediate relief," which I can't wait.
There's no pain, recovery or anything like that.
He said it's pretty minimal recovery, 2 weeks, and you should be, done. Get your stitches out in 10 days. In 2 weeks, you should be back to normal. So
didn't Lou Ferrigno have his carpal tunnel done?
I believe he did. Yeah. I think so. I think he did. I know several people who've had it done, and they all say the same thing. They tremendous relief. Well,
when he got really big again, I think when he made the comeback, that's when he had
If anyone uses growth hormone, I'm not saying Louis did, but if anybody does, you can generally count on some degree of carpal tunnel impingement. So That I definitely have it from that. I also have, because this is the wrist I broke in a motorcycle crash 40 years ago.
You probably got scar tissue in there.
Well, I do, and I have arthritis, and I have bone spurs, and I have pieces of bone that don't go where they go. I can't move my wrist. So the wrist guy said, let's go one phase at a time. Let's get rid of let's clear out your carpal tunnel first and get your numbness out of the way, and see if, your wrist can be rebuilt. And we'll try, I still have other nerve problems coming down this arm into my other fingers.
Once they cut you open, that's when all the excitement starts,
I can't, but for this, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
So there's no chance of them opening you up and seeing something wrong and they would fix it, or is it just carpal tunnel they're doing?
He said no. He said not now. He said to rebuild your wrist and get the injury straightened out from 40 years ago is a whole complete endeavor that they got. The navicular bone under the thumb is obliterated, smashed. So when it healed, I should have had surgery 40 years ago when I broke it, but I didn't have medical insurance then. I didn't afford it back then. And I just let it heal in a cast, which was like the worst thing I can do because I have no movement like this. Mobility. So it's like fused almost. So they're going to see if they can. Only reason for that is that it's hard to, that bone creates an instability in there that sometimes if I'm twisting something or working on something, I get a twinge that causes my whole hand to swell up, and I can't move it. And it's just, I'm just looking forward. If this is bothering me now, it's 63 years old. At 73, at 83, it's going to be, assuming I live that long, it's going to be. When you get to be our age, you always go.
It's terrible. When you hit a certain age, I think it was 50, you start doing what's called damage control. And I don't like that, because what damage control means is that if you have an injury or you have something wrong with you, it's never getting better. You're just doing things to alleviate the symptoms of it, but you're never going to be back to normal. When you're like in your 20s, 30s, and even in 40s to that degree, when you get like a surgery or you do something, it's to fix the problem. But you're really, at our age, you're not fixing. Like my ankle, it's fused. They had to fuse it so that I can walk, but I'm never bending it again. It's not like I'm getting back my use of my ankle anymore. It's like, and that's unfortunately what happens as you get older, and you're happy about it, because I'm like, the alternative was, cut my foot off, and that's
what's the alternative?
That was not an alternative.
I also think there's a point we get to, as bodybuilders, where you have to accept the inevitable and look ahead. If this is the problem I'm having today, if I live another 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, how much more exacerbated is this situation? How much more is it going to metastasize? What am I going to be left with pain-wise, mobility-wise, temperament-wise, as things go on? And I don't want to be a grouchy, cranky, in pain all the time old man. I want to try to minimize that as much as possible. And a lot of these things you look at prophylactically, like if I do this today, how much is that going to save me in pain and suffering and immobility and, moving backwards as time goes on. So I'm trying to justify that, along with, you got the psychological. I don't know how I was going to ask you this and see if you feel the same way, but as of now, I've lost 55 pounds from like about 5 years ago at my.
Oh, really? What do you weigh?
Like 175 right now.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but I'm shredded. I am shredded to pieces.
You purposely lost the weight, or you just lost it? Okay.
Well, I always said to myself, when I turn 50, I'm going to, pay homage to reality and start going the other way, because there's no 80-year-old 300-pounders. They're all dead.
Right. But you were never 300 pounds to begin with, so that wasn't really an issue.
No, but the concept of longevity lies in the fact that the lighter you are, the longer you live, typically.
Okay.
So
I adhere to that, yeah.
I have a young wife. I have a young son. I want to be here a long time. So rather than the ego of being 220 all the time, I'll stay at, 220, 225. I'll stay at 170, 175, maybe 180 if I, have a wild hair up my ass. But I'm never going to get bigger than that. And I don't want to, because there's aches and pains associated with it that I'm sick of. There's stricture that I don't feel like being part of. And the overall feeling of being healthy and of the feeling of well-being dissipates when you're chronically in pain, fighting an issue, can't do this because it hurts, so I just want to get as much of that out of the way as possible so I can try to enter old age, with the best chance possible of having it be, a good experience.
Well, I'll tell you personally. So I downsized over the last, 15 years. And when I hit about 200, I felt really good, like really, really good. What I noticed after I had all these surgery. I had like my shoulders, each shoulder done.
Right.
That was 18, 19. I think I did those two. And then I had the ankle fusion last year. And also this year I've had the heart surgery, right? So,
and you had cancer. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, but I didn't ever stop working out because of that. So it was like 2 days. They took that's like one of the easy surgeries I did. That's like the carpal tunnel. Even though it sounds very traumatic, it's really not.
Right.
So it's like getting gyno taken out. So
little node.
Yeah. It's glands. It's the same It's really the same surgery. If you think about it.
True.
Yeah. So. What I noticed was my weight kept going down and down because I kept missing more and more time in the gym. So in other words, the shoulders were each 12 weeks each, and I never got back to the, where I left off, when I started working out again, because then I did the other shoulder and then I had my ankle and then I missed God knows how many weeks in the gym because of that. And then I did my chest, which I was afraid to do anything. So I was going and doing cardio. I was doing whatever I could, but it wasn't really, all out. So once I got the clearance to go back to the gym after the cardiac surgery, I said, all right, you know what? I realized that at 180 pounds, I didn't need any blood pressure medication at all. My blood pressure was low actually.
Wow.
And I felt pretty good, but I looked really thin because I have no body fat. Like there was nothing filling out I started getting like a little skeletal looking, and I said, you know what? Because I wanted to heal a little quicker, I went back on HRT. I hadn't done, remember, for 7 years, I didn't even do any HRT either. So and when I went back on HRT, obviously, and I started eating a little bit more, I started gaining muscle fast, because I can train, pain-free now.
Sure.
Shoulders, I get new shoulders, everything's new, right? So when I got back to 200, and now I'm probably about 200, I'm almost 210 now. I realized that I think I went too low because I actually feel stronger and better at like 200 plus pounds than I did when I was 180. So in other words, my vitals were better at 180, but I think like in other words, for every person, there's a sweet spot. And I think, and I'm an extremist. So I'd go down to 150 if I thought it was going to, make me live longer, but I just don't think, I think I lost too much muscle. And I think for my body and my skeletal structure, I need a certain amount to support it. So this seems to be a good weight for me, about 2 to 210. Now I'm taller than you.
Yeah, you're taller than me. See, I'm only 5'9", but I mean, but once I hit that, I got like right at 170 at one point a few weeks ago, and same thing. I looked at myself, and, wow, man, I am like too skinny,
right.
And so at I think at 180, look healthier and feel better. Although at 170, I was feeling weak and like.
I think 185, 190 is perfect for you, to be honest with you. I think you'll find that sweet spot. And the reason we even mention this is because there's a lot of guys who contact me going through that. What should my weight be?
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? It's hard for me to give you a blanket answer because everyone's body's different. You know what I mean? What's the composition of the weight that you're holding to? Some people are like a fat, like 200.
Yeah.
That's not like a good quality. Like you and I have no body fat on our body. So if I'm going to gain 10 pounds, it's not going to be of fat. It's going to be of muscle, And so my body will grow because, your body will go back to what it was. It's hard to put new muscle on at our age, but if you weighed 220 at one point like you did, you can go back to 220 if you wanted. It just probably wouldn't be, you'd have to, take gear and you'd have to, push your body, which wouldn't be a good thing for you. But, my body will go back to 220 real easy. But then the question is, what's my blood pressure? You know, is my blood pressure controlled with the medication I'm on? If it is, great. If it's not, then that's not good for me, you know.
My sweet spot in my youth was like 195.
Yeah.
You know, 195, pretty lean, not, you know, as lean as I am now, but definitely pretty lean.
Right.
And that was very easy to maintain, no brainer kind of body weight. But now to get down here, I'm only eating twice a day. You know, intermittent.
Yeah, that's not. Well, you're not eating right then. You're losing muscle then if you're doing that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had to lose some muscle. I mean, there was nothing else to lose. So
well, you should eat your 4 or 5 meals a day, or whatever. I'm sure you're doing some.
Then I'll get too big. I don't want to be 190 or 180. You know, at 180 at the max. I want to
keep your carbs low. You know,
they're pretty low, but I mean at 2 meals a day, I can maintain this lower weight much easier.
Right, but you'll keep what was going to happen, and this is what's happening. What was happening to me is I kept losing, and it was slow, but it happened, and then all of a sudden I get on the scale and I'm like 180 in the hospital.
Yeah, that definitely happened to me. I was
impossible.
Like, I stopped looking at the scale at like 180, and then I got a couple months went by, and I only get on the scale, and it was like 171.2. And I go, what happened?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, but I think I can easily maintain another like 10 pounds higher, 180, 185 maybe, without really increasing much, you know, of my of anything. But it's I just try to go now with two things: what's easier and what feels good.
How much testosterone do you take a week?
Half a cc a sip.
Okay, so it's like 100 milligrams. That's about what I take.
Yeah, 125 mgs a sip, and then I take 100. With that, I take 150 of Deca and 150 of Equipoise.
All the time?
No, I stop right about now, and then I start again probably in April or May. You know, just so I go through.
So yeah, what's your hormone replacement dose though? Like just
half a cc a sip. All
right. So that's good.
I was doing a whole cc, but my test level was 1850, and
I know mine goes through the roof too. If I take,
why does that happen?
I take a cc. I don't know. I think we're just sensitive. That's all. It's our Italian receptors. Like,
but when I was bombing back in the day, it never went that high. And
that's why sometimes I think less is better. But you know what it is? It's like when you diet. If you think of it this way, to lose weight, you have to eat a lot less food, right, than your maintenance. To gain weight, you have to eat a lot more food than your maintenance. And you would think, well, if I'm eating maintenance, to gain, I should only have to eat a little bit more, right? Because I'm eating more than I was eating maintenance with.
Right.
Doesn't work that way. And same thing with losing. People say to me, the diet, we went from off-season to pre-season, that's pretty extreme. You think I should taper down my carbs? I said, you're not going to lose any weight. And sometimes to humor them, I'm like, all right, you know what? We'll just cut down by 25%. Of course, they lose zero weight, from that. It's
I have to say,
doesn't want to change. It likes
it likes its set points. Not to pat you on the back, but one huge thing I noticed as far as maintaining muscle mass with extreme calorie restrictions is the aminos you gave me, the Amino Evolved.
Oh, you like? Yeah, I love that. I'm drinking them right now.
Every single ounce of water I drink has aminos in it, so I don't lose muscle. You're
getting a lot of protein from that, yeah.
So I can eat 2 measly meals a day, and I maintain plenty of muscle mass because I got constantly have protein coming in.
Yeah. I mean, if you're doing that, then you could probably justify. I know a lot of people that just live on amino acids.
Before you gave them to me, I was definitely having issues with maintaining some kind of muscle mass with restricted calories. Once I added this, it was a game changer.
It keeps you in a positive nitrogen balance, and it keeps you anabolic. That's why when I have people dieting, a lot of times I'll catch them and they're drinking aminos all day in addition to their 6 meals, and they wonder why they're not losing weight. I said, because your body is using the amino acids for energy. I said, they're not free. I said they're free if you're not trying to diet, but if you're trying to diet, your body will use anything it can get, and turn it into sugar, and use it for fuel. So
remember Scott Connolly told us about the rats.
Yeah,
where they tendotomized the rats and they cut the tendons in their rear legs to make them unusable, and then they fed them artificial food, and then there's 0 calories because they had to compensate for the lack of muscle in the rear legs being viable. Their front chest and front leg muscles grew to compensate mobility with 0 food.
I know, it's crazy. It was crazy. That was a crazy experiment. Yeah. He was a genius. I wish we could have gotten more out of him because, you know, he really was ahead of the curve.
What's he doing?
We have a special guest joining us now. We both know her very well. We know her husband very well. We've had him on the show a lot. Ron Norman, our muscle accountant, as I like to call him. And so this, just to give you guys a little background. Nancy, who we're going to be getting on the show, Nancy Noreman, and Ron would invite me over on Christmas. Now they're Jewish. I'm half Jewish, obviously. On Christmas, and we would have something called the Jewmas at their house, Jewmas. So we would have Christmas dinner in the, you know, but in a Jewish celebration.
I was at one with your dad with Sal.
That's right. Oh, you came to one. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
With Max, right?
Yep, with Max.
Yeah. All right. Let me get her on. What's up, Nancy?
Happy Jewmas.
It's coming up. When is Hanukkah actually?
Is it Happy Jewmas or Merry Jewmas?
We can, since we make it up, we can make it anything we want. But actually, as you were discussing it, Dave, I was thinking that John actually cooked for Jewmas a few times, I think. And I would like to invite you back to cook again because it's getting a little.
I would love to come, believe me.
Nancy, turn your phone sideways if you can.
I'm trying to look at it to see where it goes because I ran back to get
no, just
to
turn it on the side.
Oh, you want me? Wow, I upside down.
Well,
we want to do wow.
It should fix itself if you have. Maybe you have the orientation lock on.
I don't know. Let's leave it, Dave. Because
all right, just leave it. All right, leave it.
Yeah.
Is that a white Christmas tree behind you?
It's a Jewmas tree. Stop it.
I was just going to say that's the most Long Island Jewish Christmas tree.
No, I don't call it a Jew tree. It's a Christmas tree. I love Christmas. I love it. I'm not claiming it. Yeah, I got to move myself. I see. It's Christmas. I love Christmas. When I was married to Trevor, he used to call me a poor, deprived little Jewish girl. And I wanted a fake tree the whole time. And he said, absolutely not. There is no way a Jew is going to tell me what to do with Christmas.
By the way, she's talking about Trevor Smith, 400-pound Trevor Smith. That's who it was, Nancy's ex-husband.
Yeah, he used to make me freeze and and we used to have to go get all the pine tree with the needles. He's like, you could do whatever you want with the tree, but you will not pick the tree. So after he died, I went and got a tree, and I actually have Christmas in my house, and like a real Jewish guy, I gave Christmas to the twins. I have 2 kids, and Ron almost blew it because he was like sitting there like a real bah humbug going, when are we going to tell them that they're not Catholic? And I'm like, you kidding me? Like, this is the best. You know, it's like, what, you too cheap to buy them gifts? Like, were you kidding me?
I'm the most non-instincts for holidays because my parents were not religious at all. But, we always did Christmas at one grandparents, and we did, Hanukkah at the other grandmother's house. But so when I was dating my ex, Barbara, I think it might have been the first or second year we were dating. I was driving down the street, and you ever see these trucks in New York? They have these trucks with these stacked with Christmas trees.
Yes.
And they will set them up like in these little like parking lots of all the major supermarkets, and they'll sell Christmas trees out of there. And this Christmas tree truck cuts around a corner, and this huge tree goes flying off the top of the thing.
A free tree
in the middle of the road, and the truck keeps going. So I'm like, you know me. I'm like, the free tree. I'm like, I don't know.
That's what I said.
So I actually happened to be in my ex's parents' neighborhood at the time. So I said, I wonder if I can get this tree and I'll just bring it over their house, and it'll look like I bought them a tree. So I get this tree, and I had my old Pontiac Grand Prix, and I shove it into the trunk. The trunk's wide open. You can't close the trunk. The tree was enormous. And I slowly drove over to the mother's house. I knocked on the door. The mother thought that her daughter had been killed or something like that. What's he doing here, right? I said, I got a gift for you. She's like, what? I said, I got a Christmas tree. So I told this Christmas tree, and it was huge. The thing was huge. I was like the hero of Christmas after that. And that was my only Christmas instincts of my entire life. Right there.
Yeah, I mean, I just love Christmas. I think it is like some people get offended, if they're Jewish and they get somebody wishes them Merry Christmas. I think it's like a holiday. I mean, it's now is a very temperamental time with all of this, and I don't like what's going on. I didn't realize there were so many people that were anti-Semitic. But that being said, I think when anybody wishes you Merry Christmas or anything like that's like a nice cheerful blessing, I'm not offended by it. That's just me. I think I don't want to get into the political thing now.
I always say happy holidays to everyone because I'm afraid that I'm always afraid I'm going to offend someone. And I try not to get into any kind of religious debates with people because I know better. There's a lot of emotions behind that.
I refuse to say that term. I always say Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not I don't think it should be offensive because I don't think anybody is really meaning anything offensive by saying that. If you feel like saying, hey, I don't celebrate that, and that's fine, but
most people understand. I haven't run into in the bodybuilding world, I haven't run into any problems ever with race, religion. I mean, I'm sure there are people that have problems, but I haven't really encountered anything. I think everyone is pretty much how much you bench, that's all they want to tell. We don't
buy ourselves the same color, so it doesn't matter.
How much test should I take? How much food should I eat? And what should I do in the gym? That's our common bond that we have with all these people,
Yeah.
I've said that for years, that bodybuilding sets the precedent for not seeing color, not seeing religion, it's all about getting on stage and being judged on what the package you brought to the stage. It has nothing to do with anything other than that. Now, whether we agree with the judging, that's a whole other level, but
another debate,
but it's not based on anything other than that. I mean, it's speaking of that, I know why you brought me on, so go ahead, Dave.
Well, no, I was going to say before we get to talking about Ruth Silverman, but I wanted to just bring up something. I have this. Someone sent me a nice gift of Christmas toilet paper. My friend Michelle Prater sent it to me, which I thought was an original gift. And I was thinking, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately, and I've noticed a lot of the commercials are they're selling like soap. Have you seen this? Dr. Squatch. You know who Dr. Squatch is? Dr. Squatch soap?
No.
It's one of many different designer soaps. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Hold on a second.
Is this like
there's a reason I'm bringing this up. There's a reason I'm bringing this up. All right. You see this bar of soap here?
Yeah.
Did it pop up? Okay, there it is. Okay.
Wood barrel bourbon soap.
Yeah, so it smells like barrel-aged bourbon. 1 bar, John, 1 bar of soap. How long does a bar of soap last you? Usually 2 or 3 days?
I don't know. I use the pump thing in the shower, so I don't use bar soap.
I use bar soap. I use dial bar soap. It lasts about 2 or 3, 4, maybe 4 days. 1 bar is $8. And you know what? Their quantity discount, if you get 2 bars, it's still $8 each. And if you buy 3 bars, it's still $8 each. And now if you subscribe and save, which means they'll deliver every month to you, you get 25% off. But I mean, what's 25% off $8? Still gonna be $6 each. Can you imagine spending $6 for a bar of soap?
What's a normal? What's your dial soap cost?
It's like $12 for 24 of them. It's probably 50 cents a bar. I'm sure. Do you know what it costs to make soap?
I mean, olive oil soap. I was in Italy this summer. I think it was about $1.50 a bar for olive oil, like handmade soap in Italy. So
that's reasonable. I
thought it was reasonable. I mean, it's cool. It's something you bring back from your travels.
But
and then when
$8? It's $8 for soap. Oh, what's in? And you know what? If you read the ingredients, they're all the same. The key ingredient, that sodium lauryl salt, whatever they put in there to actually clean your body, It's always the same. And then they just add a little this, they add some olive oil, they add this to that. God knows what they add to stuff. But I can't believe what we're living in here. $8 for soap.
I don't. I'm not familiar. I mean, that there are expensive like gel soaps for gifts and stuff like that for sure. That I know.
It's crazy.
You can spend thousands on one bottle of wine. I mean, is the prices
let me read the
things
ingredients here. The first ingredient is saponified oils of olive.
There you go, right there.
Palm,
That's
coconut, shea butter, natural fragrances, Jimmy Red cornmeal. What the hell is Jimmy Red cornmeal? Brewers
really expensive.
Obviously, sand. There's sand in there. Annatto powder, kaolin clay, sea salt, iron oxide as a colorant.
Why am I moving?
Anyway.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got Spolkus. That's why.
I think we're in the wrong business, John. My point, the reason I brought this up is not just to complain and rant, even though this is called Rants and Rips and Rants. I think that we should go into the toilet paper and soap business, John. I think that we would make a lot of money. Bodybuilders use a lot of soap. We probably need more antibacterial because guys break out a lot. And we definitely go through a lot of toilet paper. You can ask Ed Connors that. I can guarantee he can validate that. Did Trevor use a lot of toilet paper, Nancy, back in the day?
I think so, but he actually thought the bidet was the best thing ever created. So,
someone's trying to get me to buy one of those.
I think you should.
These toilet. Do you have a toilet bowl that cleans your butt?
Do I? I don't have one in this house. No. Ron.
Do you believe in them?
I think it's probably a great thing. But we didn't. We never redid the bathroom with one. I mean, I think it's either you like it or you don't. I don't really care about it myself personally, but I think for a guy, I think it's probably a pretty good thing. But
have you seen these things, John?
I have.
Someone told me here. Let me pull this one up.
The only criticism I would have about it, I've never used one, but I would imagine that first blast of cold water, it might be a very puckering experience.
Well, why is it cold? I mean, it should be warm.
Well, I mean, ultimately, it would be. They would have some way of warming it, but I can't imagine the first initial blast is going to be warm. It takes a. It's got to take a second.
Forget how cold or hot the water is. First of all, I just don't see how it could be clean. When you go to the bathroom and then you got water squirting at your butt.
Well, you have to use a wipe as well. I mean, it's not like you just do that and you don't wipe. Yeah,
okay.
Why would you keep your ass wet after? Like,
I don't even know why you'd want to get your ass wet at all. I mean, I use a baby wipe if I think that I didn't do a good job.
I agree with baby wipes. I think baby wipes should be in every bathroom.
I've been using it for years. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I have baby wipes in every bathroom. I think that's very that. I mean, I feel like I'm on the fitness view all over again. Like we're doing this. I mean, who uses baby wipe? Because this is like.
Hold on, look at this thing.
Yeah, the little thing moves up and it's.
I mean,
I don't want anything squirting water on my butt. Sorry.
I think there should be a whole system of how you take care of yourself.
Nancy, I see this getting dirty. You ever go to the shows, John? When we go to the Arnold Classic and you go into the bathroom and you see someone blew the toilet out and there's just crap everywhere, all over the inside of the bowl. What if someone comes to your house and blows out your toilet? Now I got to go in all these little parts that spray water. I got to clean all the poop off of it. It just seems.
Well, who's coming to your house and doing that? I mean, honestly, that has to be. I will say this.
What if I do it or one of my kids does it? I got to clean the poop.
I mean, kids are kids. I mean, if a kid does that, what adult is coming to your house and blowing out your bathroom?
What if I have diarrhea one day and I blow it out? I don't want to. The toilet should be the least possible intricate parts because it should be very easy to clean and wipe down with a brush and.
So I don't know if you guys remember this, but I have power flush in all of the bathrooms.
I like that. Yes, I agree with that.
I mean, I thought for sure that it was going to pull the babies out when I was pregnant. That's how bad. Like I stepped out and had like a reacher. That thing could hoover out. I mean, I don't know what it could do, but that's why I have power flush, because there was no way in hell I didn't want anything left behind from any guests in this house. Because I remember when I lived in that house in Venice, and we had all those guys from the UK come and stay in our house, and they did damage in the bathroom. And I told Trevor, there is no way in hell I am going in that bathroom. And then he got the plunger, he had the mask, he had everything. And I'm like, that is your situation. Those are your bodybuilder people. And you will fix that. I mean, so you were right. I mean, but power flush is the key to that situation, because everything goes down. I mean, it's like a hurricane.
Where they got two buttons, like one button is supposed to be when you pee, and one button is when you poop.
I mean, what? Come on,
the pee button ever? If you would,
no,
you always
water. Go with the 2 button. Maybe that's where they got number 2 from. That's probably why they call it number 2. Right?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting listening to you do banter about this, because I am familiar with this term called cleaning lady, and they come a couple times a week and do all of that stuff so that I don't have to.
Right, but if you have happen to have a bad stomach, you're not going to wait a whole week for the cleaning woman to come to clean your toilet.
I only have 3 days.
Wouldn't you be embarrassed if your cleaning woman had to clean your toilet? It was full of like poop.
So you're one of those people who cleans for the cleaning lady.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't do absolutely. I'd be too embarrassed otherwise. Just the toilet, not anything else. Just the toilet.
I am old school. I'd clean. Like, I don't care. Like, I still have to clean that every morning. I am cleaning the floors. I am cleaning up. Like, I can't help it. I grew up like that. Doesn't matter who comes in to clean this house. I still have to clean my house. Like, I need to. I still wash my own cars, even though I have a guy come and detail them. I'm spraying them down when they get, like, I bought myself a power washer for Mother's Day. Like, I was so excited. I would line my kids. The dog and the kids go out on the driveway. I power wash their asses before they come in. I think it's the greatest thing in the world.
Isn't that the Jewish gene, though, John? I mean, come on.
No, it's not. No. I am European. I am not American. Like, as far as that,
all the Jewish people clean like that.
No, they don't. Are you kidding me?
My grandmother, Italian grandmother, you couldn't. If there was any dust, it would be arranged in rows and standing.
Because they're the same. Jewish and Italian is the same thing, John.
Same, except they are so similar.
Not American. It's European. It's like not the American born. Like, I mean, I still iron the sheets like on the corner, like to make sure when you fold them, because it's
very good.
I mean, if I don't do it, I taught my girls, and you know that like Ron's friends, they want their sons to marry the twins because they know how to make. What kid knows how to cook? Like, that's what I always think. Who's going to make holidays? Because
have you seen Nancy's daughters lately?
On Facebook photos every now and then. But
well, she sent me the most recent pictures. First of all, they're both going to college next year.
Already?
No. They have one more year.
I remember when you were pregnant with them at the Olympia.
I know.
Then now they're in college?
One is 6 feet tall, John.
What?
Yeah.
She's beautiful. She's beautiful.
They're like 5 feet and 6 feet. Thank you.
Seriously,
Thank you so
6
much.
feet? Seriously?
Yeah.
5 feet, John.
So it's like Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie Twins.
Isn't he crazy?
They're so different.
Yeah.
They are absolutely very different. Both fantastic, but both different.
Yeah.
And it's nice when they didn't speak, you know. Now they both speak.
All right, let's talk about Ruth Silverman.
Yeah, because they're gonna have to go soon.
Yeah, I know you have to leave in 15 minutes. All right, I'll make sure we get through it. Now, Ruth and you, I believe, Nancy, really became friends when we were doing that show, The Fitness View on RXMuscle.
Yes. So I know Ruth from the 90s, from when I lived out in California.
Okay.
And I remember when I first met Ruth, like, so I'm sure everybody feels this way. I remember saying to Trevor, like, who's that lady? Like, she's like, why is she even here? Because she didn't even look like she would be somebody
She didn't
that
look
worked
like she
out.
was- yeah,
Or,
yeah.
right. And he's like, oh, you know, she does all like the women's bodybuilding. I'm like, what? Like, and it was so strange to me. And I remember when she came up and like introduced herself to me and was asking me what I was all about and everything. And I had no idea she even had a column, like her and Lonnie, and they would do the column and like who's who and all of that. And that's how I met her. But then
For
after
people who
the
don't know, she edited the entire Iron Man magazine. She was the official edit. She was the senior editor there. She actually edited. John was the senior editor of Muscle Development, but he didn't edit anything. He just wrote. She actually was the editor of all the articles that came through that magazine.
Copy editor,
Super,
The copy
yeah,
editor.
super. She's like an encyclopedia of bodybuilding. I mean, her main job was always the women's bodybuilding, and then as everything went into more divisions,
you had to read every article every month of Iron Man magazine. You can't help but learn about what bodybuilding is about, and I think that's how it started for her, right?
Right.
Well, she actually started out at Hustler magazine.
That's
When
right.
she
That's
started,
right.
yes. Which is so weird because she's kind of like this very unassuming. She's not over sexy looking or anything like that. And she was so cool. And you could say anything to her and you can have this banter and nothing ever,
Phased her.
phased her. You could say
What was her
anything to
role
her.
over there? Was she an editor, a copy editor?
She was
there?
an editor also. That's how she started. She got to
imagine Ruth editing those like descriptive articles that like Jimmy reads in his truck,
Yeah.
Forum articles,
I did, and for Ruth, everything has to be accurate. So imagine her looking it up,
Yeah, back then you had to actually look things up.
You had to go to the library and look up anal beads, like, can you tell me where your anal bead section is? Like where you find it? Like, can you the card catalog for,
That's right. That's right.
I don't even know where you'd find it, but she found it. And that was the other thing with Ruth, like she would never do anything unless it was done perfectly accurate.
How did she move to Balak? Do you know?
I'm not sure how all of that came to fruition because that for me, she was always, at Ironman, like since the beginning of time.
I think she answered an ad or something like that. I think that's what she originally told me. I don't want to, don't quote me on that. We probably have to ask
I could find out. Yeah, you'd have to ask him.
I know. She just went and they listed it. They needed an editor, and she just started working there. And then she just kind of, I guess, fell in love with it. We all know about it. It's very easy to fall in love with bodybuilding. It's kind of an interesting hobby, as I call it. It's really not a sport. It's really not a sport. It's a hobby. But,
I mean, I know how she got to California, and I know why. That was, like almost every other person who followed a guy, or a relationship.
Was she married?
She never got married. So she moved there with the guy she thought she was going to marry from college, who she remained in touch with. He ended up marrying someone else and leaving California.
Wow.
And
was he Jewish?
I honestly don't remember. She grew up pretty religious from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And but I asked her, like, are you sorry you never got married and have children or anything like that? I've had that conversation with her through the years. Because now when you hit, Ruth was, she never like really told me her age. But when I would tell my mom,
you never would answer my question when I'd asked her. Yeah, either.
Right, but I got close to knowing because my mom is what is my mom, about 83, 84? Mm-hmm. And she'd be like, I'm not that much younger than your mom, so
late 70s probably.
Just based on like the timing and then the things that she would say. But I often wondered, one of the reasons why I got very close with her was she really enjoyed hearing about the twins. Like she almost she was in I invited her to their bat mitzvah, and really? She was looking to come, but theirs was canceled because of COVID.
Oh, right.
And she was coming, and she had the dress and everything. She she really loved hearing about where they were in their life. And I guess she kind of like adopted them in some way. Like she wanted to know.
She was the grandmother. She was the unofficial grandmother. Yeah.
For her, that was like something that was, she loved hearing about what they were doing, where they were next.
Do you think some of that was sort of like vicarious, that she was like?
So I don't know if it was vicarious or if it was. I feel she said she was never sorry that it just never happened for her. So
did she have a lot of friends, Nancy, or were you like
tremendous amount of friends?
Oh, she did. Okay.
So she had a very full life. But I feel like now, like where I'm reading how many people she touched in the bodybuilding world, forgot about her. Like I feel so her
they forget about everyone, Nancy, not just her. They don't even know who Dorian Yates is. These people.
Yeah, but Dorian's not nearly as nice as Ruth.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, in the social media world that we live in now,
no, but
what have you done lately? If you haven't done anything for 6 months, I
agree, but I don't. Like yes, Dorian was Mr. Olympia, but quite honestly, but like when they had the 50th anniversary of the Olympia, and every past Mr. Olympia got on stage, including Ronnie Coleman, and he had surgery, and he was in a wheelchair, and he was crutches, and he busted his ass to get there. And it was definitely emotional to see everyone on stage, and it was overwhelming, and it was really, guess who wasn't there? The only one.
He wasn't
Dorian.
there? I'm surprised.
Dorian didn't show up. And why? Just because. You know what I mean? Listen, it's a great accomplishment to be Mr. Olympia, but at the same time, Dorian, it's Dorian. That's kind of who he is. I don't feel like he gives back to the fans the way like a Cutler. Listen, Cutler's extraordinary.
Jay's one of a kind. Yeah.
But still, look, it is what it is. But like as far as anything, what people are saying about Ruth, which I think she listened. She wholeheartedly listened to people and actually cared what they had to say, and she taught them how to write, or she told their story. Even Dorena Wilson, who I think that might have been the last like full article, told her story about cancer, or Oksana, she was believing in her comeback. She genuinely cared about what she was doing, and she cared about them, not making money off of them, not doing anything, but really accurately telling the story.
Well, I mean, Lonnie Teeper's the same way. I mean, Lonnie Teeper is a legend, and emceeing all the major shows, writing, everyone knew Lonnie. And I guarantee you, most of these young guys today probably don't even know who Lonnie Teeper is.
No, well, that's
the name.
I mean, when I talk to some of the bikini girls, a lot of times, they don't even know about bodybuilding. Like they don't even really understand what a super heavyweight is. And for me, in my opinion, often the dog keeps pushing on me. That's why I'm moving. So
no one would know who Blackman was if John and I didn't talk about him all the time.
Well, I feel like the situation that occurred for you guys is kind of we were just talking about that, Ron and I.
Didn't I go to your house with Blackman once for dinner?
Yeah, yes. Actually, I'm sitting in one of the chairs that he sat in, and I remember he looked so small. Were you there,
John, or no? Were you there, John?
Why you laughing, John?
No, it was Ron. I think Ron, Blackman.
Look at this chair. Look at this chair. It's so big. So
his head didn't even go over the top of it.
Yeah, you see?
You look like Napoleon in the chair, John.
Kai Green, I'm getting rid of these chairs. I've been so lazy about getting rid of these chairs. But Kai Green sat in these chairs. The people that have sat in these chairs, I really should. You know what, everybody? I am going to get rid of these chairs. The bidding starts now. So if anybody wants these chairs, you have no idea how many pro bodybuilders have sat in these chairs.
That's
so true. You can start. The bidding starts at $50. Okay?
You should buy them and put them in Valentino's kitchen.
Yeah. He could use some new chairs over there. He still has the chairs from 1970.
They're super nice. I just don't want, they're too big. I want some smaller ones. because I want more people to fit at the table. But
Got
yes,
the small Bleckman in the small chair reminds me of the visual I have
I'm
of
actually
that.
moving. I
Remember
gotta
when
move
they
over
went on
this side.
safari and he came back and he had the
Oh,
pictures
my-
of him riding the elephant,
I
and they
know.
put him on the baby elephant. Everybody's riding these big elephants, and he's
I-
on the little baby elephant.
He got a pony elephant.
That was
And
a
it's,
great
like,
picture.
and it's like they paid like 20 grand for that trip, you know, and they put him
And
on
they
the
gave
baby
him
elephant.
the little one. Yeah.
I would have been outraged.
Maybe that's the elephant he wanted. I mean,
don't know.
you don't know. I'm a little
Maybe-
scared sometimes. I mean, my mom went on the camel and she got nervous. She probably would have wanted the baby camel.
Yeah,
You
I don't
know?
know. When you talk about elephants, I don't think it really matters at that point.
No.
You know, that little
20 feet off
fur
the
on
ground.
the little fur on the elephant is hard. It's not so, it looks so cute. And when you
Yeah.
touch it, it's very, very it
Yeah.
hurts.
Very coarse.
It's spiky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not what
I
you think.
I guess they use it to get through the brush, right? It protects them from the
I
brush.
don't know. It's not cute hair. Like it looks so soft and
Yeah.
cuddly, and then it's ouchy. You know.
Now, people, Nancy, people have been asking me. Hold on, people have been asking me about how Ruth passed, and it was a little sketchy. I think you have a better.
I do. Yes. So
what happened?
yeah, I spoke to Ruth probably every week, if not more. So I probably argued with her a lot too. We were definitely got into it.
Oh,
So,
she loved to argue. She loved.
well, we were definitely on opposite ends.
She was very
politically.
liberal, as John pointed
Yeah,
out.
and I am not. I mean, even when we saw her, we would fight all the time. Ron is definitely not liberal.
No,
So,
right,
but,
yeah, absolutely not.
I mean, Ruth is the original of the protesting, from going back to when she was in. She loved all that. That was her gig, and she even did the whole Me Too and the Vagina March and all of that. She was
You think
right
that's
in
why
all
she never
that.
got married, though, Nancy? Sometimes, like a lot of the more demonstrative, feminists from back in that era just never got married, And
No, I think what happened was the guy that she was with, that didn't happen. And then I think she had someone special for about 10 years. And that didn't happen with him.
Right.
And then she just loved her career, and she had a very full life. She had a circle of friends that she dined with. I think when you hit a certain
Did
point,
she play mahjong?
I don't think she played mahjong. She was in to this day. She was in a film group that she went they saw and reviewed films. She was in a group that she dined with every week, and then they do the holiday party. Like she had she donated her time to feed the homeless. I think Bruce Cardenas was in a group with her for that, and a
Bruce
couple
Cardenas
of
from Quest.
Yeah. I mean, she was super, super involved. She had a lot of things that she was involved with. I think that it just hit that point where when you don't have that person, you just move on and your life is full. And and that's it. I mean, I think there's a lot of women even now that, look, I didn't have the twins till I was almost 40.
Right.
So, it is what it is. It happens. And sometimes life just gets in the way, and then you realize, I'm not married. I don't, and this is my life. I think, though, touching on that, I did want to say, to all the people that, I made it my business to call her, because I did realize that, there was no one really in her life.
You're very thoughtful, though, in that regard too. You think about people's feelings and stuff like that. I got to give you credit for that.
Thank you. But I just feel like I would call her and I'd say, I only have a minute. I'm going to get, the kids. And then the minute would be an hour later. But I felt like, it was important to do, because she was sitting there. I knew she wasn't well the last couple of years. She was not well. And that I knew. But that's not how she passed. She got an infection, and she had to be my last text message from her. I know I'm cutting off the screen, and I'm trying to move the phone. Oh, there we go. Is that better? So she was struggling the past couple of years, and she got a bacterial infection. My message from her said, hey Toots, which is what I think everybody knows she called them. She would say, hey, how you doing, Toots? Or hey, just checking in with you. It was right after the Olympia. I didn't get to watch the Olympia feed. I want to go over that with you and see what I missed. I ended up getting a bacterial infection and then fell and hit my head on a Parsons table and landed in. That was a fun ambulance ride. Ha ha ha. And then I think she was in the hospital, but she made it home. She has a very close childhood friend from Pittsburgh that every time she had like her hip done or anything happen, her name is Phyllis. Phyllis would come and take care of her. So she would stay with her. I mean, they're like friend, like a sister. Right. And so then I spoke to her, oh no, blah, blah, blah. And I spoke to her and we shot the shit a little bit about the Olympia. And
she was fully coherent and everything then.
Oh yeah. I mean, I could hear in the last year that she was slowing down a little, like just.
But that comes with age too. That comes with age though.
Well, I don't know how old she was. You know, she could be older than my mother.
Right. But let's say she was close to 80. I mean, that happens when you get to that age.
Absolutely. But Ruth in general spoke very deliberate. I don't know how, I mean, when you hear her speak, she was very careful with her words. Yeah. She spoke that way. And then I actually I was out with Sienna and I got a text message from Ruth and it wasn't Ruth, it was Phyllis. And it said, hi, Nancy. I want to let you know that Ruth passed away. And, this is Phil. And I didn't know what to do. Like it was very, and she explained to me that she got a
brain bleed,
a brain bleed, and she didn't have any pain, and it was very quickly, and it was very.
You think that brain bleed was from the fall initially, where she hit her head?
I do. Okay. I do know that one of the things she was suffering from was with her blood. So I think she was on some blood thinners. So I think, I think what happens, which we all know, when you have one thing wrong and then you take medication to fix that, another thing, everything snowballs. And, I think I've said this so many times on the Fitness View or anytime that I've been on, especially with the bodybuilders or anyone, to always get your baselines, and that everything changes in every 3 months. And I have heard so many people saying like, oh, I just went, but you do have to go and just get everything checked and go again in 3 months, and I know she was on top of her health, but things were changing and she's older, but us, I'm 55 now, but every bodybuilder who's putting things in their body that should not be happening or coming on or off things, just go get checked. I mean, I can't tell you how many people, I mean, we've lost so many in the iron world. And I feel like everybody wants
the other day too. I mean, just recently.
I mean, it's almost like we're becoming anesthetized to the loss. Like, oh, okay, there's another one. But I mean, losing Ruth hit me hard. I can tell you that I cry in the car, and I did a reel and I started crying only because, look, I'm going to get upset because I'm so used to making that call.
Right.
And then you get used to you not going to make the call anymore and call your person, and you don't realize that it happens like that. And everybody wants to say, oh, it's COVID. I'm sure some of the things could be happening because of the COVID vax or whatever. But the thing is, yes, it happened. COVID happened and the vaccine is there. Does it really matter? Yeah. And when these jerks write, oh, I'm seeing the stupid things. Oh, it was steroids. Oh, it was that, come on. Like
people are morons, Nancy, that. Look,
I mean, I dealt with that after Trevor died too, I mean,
most older people do die indirectly sometimes directly from falls. They break. My father broke his hip, and from that, and then his body just shut down. So you don't know, but it happens a lot. It seems almost like a way out for a lot of these older people, but most of them do eventually die from a fall, either directly or indirectly. And it's kind of weird, but it happens a lot.
They literally can't bounce back. Like, in other words, even Ron's mom, like, she fell, she broke her elbow. That was okay. But then she fell again. Like, how many times can the healing process just doesn't, we just can't
My
recover.
father was so lazy, okay, getting up. They had him in this chair because, he was in this, like, we had him in the Gulf Coast Village, which was a really, like high end, like, adult care place. And,
he told him he was in Spain.
Yeah, he thought he was in Spain. Yeah. He loved it there, actually, believe it or not, because they treated him so well, and he would do singing and he would draw pictures of them, and he loved it. So they said, "Don't get up." Now he couldn't remember. He had dementia. I thought he never got up. They actually had him like with like a belt around him so that he would remember not to get up. And somehow he got out of the chair. Who knows how? And he fell and broke his hip. So I mean, if we had told him, "Dad, get up," he'd be like, "I need help. I can't get up." But he somehow got up on his own. So you don't know. It's the weirdest thing. It's almost like I think that unconsciously they know that, hey, I got to get out of it. My father was done.
Right. I think that they get very they don't want to wait for anyone. No. They want to be independent. It's tiresome to ask, to be served. Mm-hmm. That they get impatient. I think the first time my mother-in-law fell was because she was going down the stairs to get a cookie. I mean, and the stairs are definitely a detriment. But even when she was in assisted living, she fell because she wanted to go to the bathroom herself. She didn't want somebody to, wanted to wait. That's, it must really suck to have someone help you when you've been independent your entire life and existence, and now you have to wait for somebody, and if you don't wait, then you have to go to the bathroom in a diaper. I mean, no one's going to want to do that. Like it's really uncomfortable. There's no way to, no matter who you are, that's just to live like that is frustrating. Yeah. And even if they don't want to know that that's a temporary existence, that we're going to make you stronger. It doesn't feel like it's temporary at that point.
Is there a funeral for Ruth, Nancy?
No, there's not going to be. They are, her family, there's only her brother left, and then her friend Phyllis. But I thought that eventually there might be some sort of we're doing this. I don't think that I think that I did tell them that there would be some sort of we'd do some sort of tribute to her, or maybe show some pictures.
Right.
I think it took everyone by surprise.
Yeah.
It really did.
Since I had to go 10 minutes ago, can I give you my Ruth story? And
please. I'm waiting.
So I always knew who she was, of course, but on friendly banter here and there, at shows and whatnot, because I knew Balick really well and all that. And one day we were in the press pit. It was either the Olympia or the Arnold, and I was a good 10 years into my senior editor role at MD. And Ruth turns around to me and says, "I just love that last article you wrote on whatever it was, blah, blah, blah." And I'm looking at her and I'm like, "What are you doing reading my articles? You got to edit the entire Iron Man magazine and you're wasting your time reading my articles?" And she was so complimentary to me about, my writing. And I was such an honor to get that from her, knowing the breadth of her literary capabilities and what she did for Iron Man. I was so touched that she not only actually read my articles, but actually was conversive in the subject matter of those articles. And that just completely blew me away. So,
John,
what you should have said there was, "You're lucky you never had to edit my articles." That's what you should have told her.
I mean, honestly, John, you are such an amazing writer. Ron and I were just talking about this. Like, it's I actually talked to Ruth about you and your writing ability. Yeah, because I just feel like, well, when she stopped, she hasn't had work in a while. I think her last writing was for bodybuilding.com. And we were just talking about the fact that the industry has changed and, where are you going to be writing and who could she work for and all of that. And the industry has changed. It's just not, there's no, where is the work? And
there is no work. There really isn't.
Well, there isn't. But we were just saying, Ron and I, actually, it was yesterday, we were talking about you, how talented you are. And you really are. You're a tremendous writer. But she and I we talked about everybody. Ruth and I shot the shit about everyone. And anybody I could bring up, I swear she had a story for, or she could counteract, or, she remembered your wife, Dave, Amanda compete, everyone. She knows a story about everyone. And I think I posted on CJ, about the suits. And I just talked about her making suits. And she's like, no, she doesn't just make suits, Toots. She did this and that. And talked about her competing. And she even had pole in her routine. And I'm like, huh?
Ruth and Lonnie back in their heyday. Okay, Lonnie Tieper and Ruth, who both wrote a column for Iron Man. Obviously, Ruth also did the editing for Iron Man. They were like as sharp as tacks. They knew every little gossipy tidbit about everyone in the industry for years, for 30, 25 years probably.
But isn't that what they did? They did that little gossip column.
Yeah, they knew they were on top of everything. Really on top of it. Maybe even more so than we are now. They knew everything. It was crazy.
It was such a good, that's something I miss, because now there's you would wait for that magazine, you'd read the beginning of it, and, maybe your picture would be in there, and they catch you training somewhere with someone. And now it's kind of it's just not like that anymore. And the sad part is, I even saw comments by people, they're like, I guess this person was important. And it's like, ew, well,
now it's all self-promotion,
Right.
It's way more of an honor to be, I guess, congratulated by someone else. In other words, if a magazine or a big, social media outlet, or even like us, if we mention someone's name, I have to believe it validates that person more, because I could put stuff on my own Instagram, but if someone else is saying how good I am, that just makes it sound that much better. And I think that's what
you are good
did for the bodybuilders back then. It validated what they were doing, and that's why we wanted to appear. And who didn't want to go to a newsstand and see your picture in a real magazine?
Print. When print died, that whole mystique left with it. When to have a byline in print is prestigious.
Oh yeah.
To have a byline online is, my dog can have a byline.
A real photo shoot? You mean with an actual the photos I have are actually by a real photographer in a gym with actual lights. It's not me taking my phone and taking a picture of myself. And why? I just want to add this. Why do they have to do it from the angle of their crotch? Why do I have to be like a gynecologist or proctologist? Seriously, does everybody really need to look at that? Is that real? Let me ask you guys, is that really exciting to you? I don't understand. At what point, do we need to stop this? I don't want to know how to train by looking up your crotch. Do the exercise. Why are you turning the phone on that angle? I know I'm being absolutely, I can't hold this freaking phone and I'm spazzing out. So obviously I'd do it that way too. But I get it. They put the phone down.
They want attention, Nancy. That's why.
I don't know,
right,
but
listen, I'm sorry to interrupt. I really have to go for 15 minutes.
John, where are you going?
Yeah, where are you going? I'm getting carpal tunnel. I'm getting carpal tunnel syndrome.
Thank you.
Carpal tunnel surgery.
I said, what are you doing?
My pre-op right here so that they can do what they got to do.
What time is your appointment?
2:00.
Now, you know why you get carpal tunnel, right?
Yes.
What have you been doing with your hands?
Tools. He uses tools, Nancy.
He's a lot of tools.
Is that from all the writing you've been doing?
It's from using all the growth hormone for the last 20 years.
Well, Nancy, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for coming on
so
here,
much.
talking about Ruth, honoring Ruth's memory a
It
little bit here.
was my pleasure. I mean, I think that you guys are fantastic. It was nice seeing the two of you. I miss you both.
Yeah, good
Come to Jumas. Come on to the cold. Come to the cold.
We got to do Jumas at some point. Yeah, again.
Well, you know what? We'll do Jumas on another day when it's convenient.
Maybe we can do it like on the TV show. We can have like a virtual Jumas or something like that.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, we'll get you and Ron on. You can set the table for us, at there, and
or we could all fly to the island of Ajuba and have Jumas there.
Dubai. Let's go to Dubai. That's the destination.
I've never been to Dubai, so.
Oh, you haven't?
I would love to go too. That would be.
You should get Ron to take you there. That's a nice, really nice place.
I don't. I mean, I think it happens during like really busy times, and I'm actually working at the office a lot lately. So
take your daughters there. I'm telling you, it's like going to Vegas times 10. That's really what it is.
Oh, you've been?
So yeah, I've been there. I was there in '96 when they were first building it, and I went back about a couple years ago.
Is that when you had your quad rupture? Or your
no, that was India. Oh. That was India. That was in.
I knew it was someplace
far. 2012.
Oh, I knew something happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Dubai, I got to hang out with Milos for 7 days. It was fun when I went there in '96. But they hadn't built anything yet. Now it's completely different. But,
okay.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up, and John's got to go get his.
You guys can keep going. I just gotta go.
No, he doesn't want to hang out with me. That's all right. I saw him at the Olympia, but I didn't see you. I can't believe I didn't run into you.
You'll see me next year.
John wasn't there. That's why you didn't run into him.
Wasn't there.
Oh, but I thought you guys said you were going.
I was supposed to go, but then it never. The wires got crossed at home at the home office, and I never got formally scheduled. So. Somebody dropped the ball, but next year it's a 60th anniversary. Next year, I'm definitely
next year's going to be a good one for sure. Yep. But there's not one that I have missed. I only missed when the twins were born, so
that was my first one back in a long time. So
I know it's so exciting to see you
back in the South.
Yes. So we'll see you next year.
That's right. Yep. But let's do Jumas on the TV. We'll get Ron and you for the TV show, like when we get closer.
Yes, we'll plan a Jumas, and
we'll get Valentino to set a place at his table too.
Yeah.
And Jimmy can set a place at his table, and we'll have we'll reminisce about the old days. All right.
Absolutely, and we'll try to think who else can come. Everybody should tell us who they'd like to see at Jumas.
There you go.
And we'll make it happen.
We'll come up with a potential list. Maybe we'll invite Black. He'll show up.
A list.
No. Okay, we'll make it. I'll start making the guest list. You let me know.
All right. Thank
you.
Love
you guys. Take care.
All right. Thanks for sharing the life of Ruth Silverman with us, John. Good luck at the doctor. And for now, we're out of time, guys. This is another edition of Rips and Rants. We'll be back again next week.